Hey, this is Mark Smith, and I'm here with my co-host David Conley, co-host of Digital Roughneck, and I'm also here with our special guest Luke Coates, who is the co-founder of Energy Strong. Welcome, Luke.
Hey
Dave.
guys.
So we're here to pay tribute
Tribute.
to, I think, the victims and the heroes of 9/11. It's the 20th anniversary. It's a big day. And I think, in light of all the stuff happening with our withdrawal from Afghanistan, it's really brought up a lot of memories for me. I mean, personally, I can remember exactly where I was when I saw the first pictures of the planes hitting the Twin Towers, and I happened to be in Denver, but really I was commuting back and forth to Manhattan. So even my boss, he was in Manhattan and texting me and said, "Man, the phone's down. It's total chaos. I need to get back home. Can you help me out?" Internet was down. Everything was down, and it was crazy. So I don't know about you guys. You remember where you
Yeah.
were on 9/11?
I feel like it was just yesterday. 20 years ago is crazy to me. I was 20 years old at the time. I lived in Queens, New York. And I just got chills thinking about the feelings that I had at the time of 9/11 and the communities and the people that were affected at that time. Every year I remember how I felt and the feelings that New York City had. So it's
Being in,
definitely a
being in Queens, did you witness the stuff or like what? Tell me, give me the scene.
so the scene to me was I didn't see it happen. I had friends that saw it happen and they saw the second plane hit, and but just not knowing what happened, but seeing all the chaos of the fire trucks and the sirens going off, and then hearing what happened and getting on the subway that was completely empty. I just had never felt anything like that. Everybody was indoors trying to figure out what was going on, and it was a very sad time and an emotional time for so many that live there and all across the country. Whether you were 20 years old like me at the time, or whether you were what grade were you in
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
time?
I was just a babe. I do remember where I was on 9/11. I was in my fifth grade gym class, and I
Yeah,
do remember it vividly. And I don't. It's just it's one of those huge events that
yeah.
even the youngsters at the time still remember where they were. But
Yep. And my kids obviously weren't born, but I talk to them about it every year. I talk to them about what happened at the time. And so it's something to always remember, never forget.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, I was thinking about it last night, guys, and I think 9/11 is a wake-up call for Digital Roughnecks. Any of you guys listening to this show, um, who's really, I feel like our mission is to use technology to grow our energy independence so that we're not dependent on countries who ultimately want to harm us. So it's like this whole renewed sense of what our higher purpose is and what we're doing here. And I don't know, you
I
know,
mean, I
uh,
mean, and again, I'm younger than you guys, but what has energy done since 20 years ago, coming stateside? Like what has been the energy transformation just in that 120-year window? You know what I mean?
back then we were talking about because we were literally dependent on, like, honestly, we were, if energy price were fluctuating, we were dependent on what OPEC would do, and it was a big deal. And we're like, man, we got to be energy independent because we were not at that time. Fast forward to recent years where we are energy dependent, and quite frankly, OPEC is a story. Like, they can do whatever they want to do, but we're still energy independent, which in my mind means freedom. Energy independence equals freedom, right? And even Proverbs 22:7 says the rich rule over the poor and the borrower is the slave to the lender. So at that time, honestly, we were partly slaves to people who didn't always have our best interests at heart. I'll putting it mildly. And now, as energy independence, and when we feel like that's, a threat, it's up to certain people to stand up and be the ones that are, kind of carrying that torch now for, protecting what we hold dear about this, country. And energy independence is a huge factor, I
Yeah.
believe.
So
Yeah,
Luke,
we we revolutionized the way that oil and gas is produced domestically, with horizontal drilling, with hydraulic fracturing. We've done some amazing things. Technology and how we produce our oil and gas has been phenomenal. And on top of that, now, we're producing it cleaner than anywhere in the world. So we have a lot to be proud of. Just in Colorado alone, I can speak to Colorado, but since 2005, we've quadrupled our production and we've lowered our emissions by 50%.
Wow.
So we produce it cleaner and better than anywhere in the world. The issue with policies that prevent us from developing it domestically is we ship it from overseas where they might not have the same requirements as where they don't, and we still use as much, if not more. California is a prime example of using more oil than they've ever used in the history of California, but now importing 80% of it from overseas.
So they're exporting their problems. So
they're exporting their emissions and using more than they've ever used before, when they could produce it in Bakersfield and other areas where we can produce it clean, responsibly. We need to utilize our resources, use our technology to produce it a low cost, reliable energy. California's energy prices are higher than they've ever been. And it's not reliable, anymore, because they're dependent on not only foreign that don't have our best interests, but other sources that might not be reliable, like oil and natural gas.
And this 9/11 wasn't isolated. I mean, it was a physical attack. Since then, we've had cyber attacks. Now we've had a virus attack, and it kind of brings up things that, like, wow, we are dependent on people who want to harm us. So as far as energy goes, I just think the Digital Roughnecks are in a very unique spot to help create clean energy profitably, secure, prevent it from cyber attacks, safe, dependable, and which really, energy is the key to defending ourselves. It really is the key for all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, energy security is a big deal. Energy security and independence, to not be reliable on others. And the truth of the matter is, we don't have to be. We can produce it here domestically.
Right. And it's key to even look, we're all in an energy transition. We get it. There's going to be different forms of energy. And quite frankly, I think the same companies and organizations that help, do things with fossil fuels are going to be the same leaders with energy from other sources. They really are. And
they're energy companies.
They're energy companies. They produce it whatever makes sense. Reliable, safe, secure, dependable, all that stuff. So when you flick on the light, it comes on. When the air conditioner needs to come on, it comes on, and it's not a brownout or whatever. And, when we need to power whatever we need to do to prevent cyber attacks or any other thing, we got that. So anyway, I just felt compelled to do an episode like this and kind of say, hey, there was a bunch of heroes that stepped up on 9/11. I feel called to be one of those guys that steps up today to prevent the next bad thing happening. And I do think it's related to energy independence. So as we think of the victims and heroes of 9/11, I just think, it's really a calling for us. I know Energy Strong and Digital Roughnecks. Hey guys, it's our turn to step up.
Sure.
Yeah, well done. That's great. Great. Thanks for inviting me.